Hello, welcome to the second video in the Jedi 101 series. Number 1, we're going to be going over the chapter in my book. The first step into a larger world, an introduction to walking the Jedi Path. So, of all the chapters in the books, 5 years on since I wrote it, this is probably the one that my views have changed the most. But I'm going to present what I wrote 5 years ago, and then I'll talk about it after I'm done reading. Okay, so without further ado, Chapter 1, What is the Force? My path differs from many others in that I see the Force as an internal rather than external phenomena. This is not to say that there isn't an energy that permeates the universe, but so far if there is, it cannot be objectively detected or measured. If I am honest, my interpretation of the Force as an internal phenomenon is just as subjective, but it has had demonstrable benefit and utility for me. The Force in Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope was described by the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi as an energy field created by all living things. And here we have our first meeting of myth with reality. If such an energy field exists, it has so far eluded all attempts to objectively detect or measure it. As real-life Jedi, we understand that the events and feats pictured on the movie screen are fictional. However, like all other myths, it is a fiction that can inspire. In the cinematic mythology of Star Wars, it is the knowledge of the Force that gives a Jedi their powers. Jedi power seems to be depicted as feats of great speed or dexterity, telekinesis, and influence on the weak-minded. These powers lie clearly in the realm of fiction. What Jedi powers are available to us in the real world? The answer are the positive mental and emotional attributes of the Jedi characters. Such attributes as calmness, balance, selflessness, compassion, bravery, wisdom, mindfulness, and a plethora of others. So if we proceed assuming a cosmic energy field is a product of the imagination, what can we draw upon for our power? We can inculcate and cultivate the positive mental attributes of the mythological Jedi. If we do not want to tread in the realm of the mystical, the Force is there for us, right within our own human potential to shape ourselves into better human beings. If you do believe in an external mystical manifestation of the Force, the focus of the path is not on the mysticism, but rather using the Force for personal growth and reaching our full potential. In fact, the cultivation of these positive mental traits by using the Force, our own focus and potential can serve us well in day-to-day activities such as purchasing groceries or interacting with friends and family, or just as important, interacting with strangers. This is an active process and one that takes work. When one finds themselves in a stressful situation, it may benefit them to take a moment and make an adjustment to their attitude. By mindfully composing oneself to act and respond in the manner of a Jedi of quality, we can have a much better outcomes. It has been my experience that when I seek within myself, instead of trusting an external agency for strength, I can find it. Sometimes I have been pushed to my absolute limit before finding the light within. But the strength that I can draw upon when I really dig astounds and amazes me. There are times when the world seems like a very dark place, and seeking out the light a monumental task. It is at times has taken me a long time to find the light within, but it is these times that we rely on our training. We rely on persistence and self-discipline and trust that the force will be there for us if we dig deep enough. There's another aspect to the force that Obi-Wan tells us about in that scene in the first Star Wars film. It binds the galaxy together. All beings and all things are interconnected and interdependent on one another. This connection can be seen as an external aspect of the Force. The connection can be a channel for selflessness and compassion, two fundamental aspects of living your life as a Jedi. It facilitates harmony when you encounter chaos and cultivates mindfulness that we are all in this life together and that altruism is always in our own best interest. Recognizing this connection and interdependence will lead to the attitude of wanting to listen and help. It is when we are disconnected, or rather feeling disconnected, that our focus turns inward on ourselves in such a way that is indicative of selfishness or lacking empathy. This illusion of not being connected leads to harmful attitudes where help for others is withheld due to the mistaken belief that giving to others will take something away from us. When we recognize that the Force binds us all together, it becomes clear that helping those around us improves the situation for ourselves as well. While the Jedi Path is about world betterment through self-betterment, we must not focus exclusively on ourselves and give some energy towards making the world a better place. And this becomes clear why when we see the connection we have with all others. I am sure there is more I have yet to learn from the mythological imagery of the Force. It is a study I do not think will ever end. The Jedi Path has no destination. It is a path of constant self-improvement and refinement. Our understanding of all aspects of the path, including the understanding of the Force, is something that, if one practices sincerely, will evolve over time. I look forward to meeting others that have a different perspective. Perhaps you, reader or viewer, will have something to teach me. Okay, so the first thing, I understand why I put a chapter of the Force the first thing, because when you are a Jedi, you will be eventually asked what the Force means to you, and it's important to have an understanding of the Force and how it relates to your path, even if that understanding is the Force doesn't exist and it has no bearing on my path. It's still a question you got to answer as a Jedi. I think I was it was an exercise in hubris to try to give a definition of the Force. This was the definition I worked with for many years leading up to that point, and what I saw about it 5 years ago of it being an internal, somewhat psychological phenomenon. This is no longer the case, but I'll just make one mention that as I got sick, as I came down with these illnesses, the mystical aspects of the whole Jedi path and my life in general started creeping back in. But you don't need mysticism to be a Jedi. That was my view from the beginning. It's still my view, even though I'm personally incorporating mysticism into my life now. How I do it doesn't have to be the way you do it. But yeah, I understand. I gave a working definition of the Force that I build upon in the book. But anything you can describe about the Force is going to fall short. And it's not going to be in common with Jedi or non-Jedi. There are many non-Jedi. The Force does not exclusively belong to Jedi or other names that people have given to the Force or an understanding of the Force. Sorry, that's my dog. I gotta take care of it. I'll be back. Okay, back. My dog settled down. Anyways, define the Force however you want. I have my understanding. I'm not here to be on what I put in the book to preach about my understanding of how the Force works or how it flows through our bodies or anyway, none of that. Force is the Force. If you try to describe it, you're only going to get a piece. I don't think I was wrong, but I think my understanding was incomplete. My understanding is still incomplete. The more I dive into it, the more I realize I don't know. Yeah. So, if you're going to do this Jedi thing, if you're just starting out on the path, don't fret too much about the Force. Get a working hypothesis on how the Force relates to your path. Test it. See if it has benefit or utility. If it does, great. Work on more of that. Improve on it. If it doesn't have benefit or utility, if it's not serving you or your path, scratch it. Start again. Well, I think that's all we're going to do for this one. Thank you for viewing. Brand new channel. I think my 7 subscribers who have subscribed on the first video. I hope, well, I mean, it'd be nice to have some reach, but I'm not going to chase subscription counts or views or anything like that. I'm just putting this introductory Jedi 101 material out there for free, accessible, I hope. And I will see you next video. May the Force be with you.